Hi there and welcome to this tutorial video on how to use our sourcing agent template. Now, if you go to our website and you end up on the agents page over here, you'll see there's a top section here for real estate and rental agents. And if you keep scrolling down, you will have a section here that says we also work with sourcing agents. It gives you some instructions over here, and it says that you please need to download our templates over here. We require these in order to assess your deals going forward. Watch the video, which is the one you're watching right now, complete the forms, and then email that form to sourcing@ZAHomes.co.za and use a specific subject line over here so we can identify you as a sourcing agent as well as your name. Now, each one of these green buttons gives you access to a template. Now, the primary one here is the deal assessment template, which we require for you to fill, and that is the bulk of what this video will cover. We'll go through that in a moment. The others are to download our sourcing agreement template. So in order for us to do business with you, we have to complete this agreement beforehand. We only have to do this once off, not per deal. Then we also provide you with an investor presentation template, just in case you don't have your own. Some sourcing agents have their own, and that's entirely fine. But if you don't have a nice PowerPoint to PDF presentation, you're welcome to download ours. And then we also have an OTP, which you can use to secure the property. Now, you might want to use your own OTP, which is 100%, but please familiarize yourself with our terms and conditions inside here, specifically the time that we use to secure bank financing, etc., as that will become important to secure the deal and perhaps delay certain parts of the deal that might suit us and you better. Now, the final step once you've filled in these is to send them through to us on email, and we always require the deal analysis as well as a presentation from your side which covers the highlights of the deal as well as a Lightstone report. Those are the three things that we require from your side. Now, let's cover this deal analysis template. So if I click on this, you will see that it will now download this file to my screen over here. There we go. It's downloaded over here, and I've already got this open. And this is what that sheet looks like. Now, this sheet caters for every metric that we require from your side in order to assess a deal. So we'll start with the property details, and you'll see that only the fields in green are required from your side. The fields in gray as well as the fields in yellow are not accessible by yourself, and this is only for us to further evaluate the deal. And you'll see that some of them are set to standard conditions like requiring 100% financing at a certain interest rate and term, as well as the fact that we're trying to put no cash in this deal and rather borrow that money elsewhere. That doesn't mean that's how we're going to finance this deal, but that is the standard terms that we've set in. Now, there are three types of deals which this calculator can analyze, and we're obviously going to add additional calculations to determine the viability of your deal. But we can do a standard buy-to-let, a student accommodation, or a flip. Now, let's cover the property details. You have to supply the bedrooms, bathrooms, garage, and carports. And then we start with the asking price over here. So this is the price that the seller wants for this property. We've got the Lightstone value, fair value over there. Property 24 value, if there is one, and if, for instance, it is listed already. The after repair value. So we're going to enter some renovation and upgrade figures in a moment, but this would be the value that it would be worth after performing renovations. Then we have the purchase price or acquisition price. Now, this is the price that you think this property can be bought for, and it might be lower or equal to the asking price, right? So we could buy this property at a discount. Just because the seller wants 1.7, you feel we can reasonably buy it for 1.6, then enter that value. The gross monthly rent income for a buy-to-let, we're going to skip student accommodation for a moment because we're going to fill those figures in elsewhere. So if it's a buy-to-let, enter that value here. Then we have the operating costs for a buy-to-let over here. We've got levies, rates and taxes, building insurance, catering, for everything over here. And we've already hard-coded some values for the management, the voids, and the maintenance. So you don't need to provide that unless there is a very high figure for one of those that you feel it has to be stated. Then put it under other costs and put that in your presentation to make us aware of it. Then we've got other property info, the status of the seller, and these are drop down. So you can choose it's a company. Is the seller VAT registered? Yes or no. Is the nature of the property, freehold or sectional title, for instance. And then the property area. So that is the suburb as well as the city. And then we have the specific property address, the street and building number, for instance, as well as the suburb, and then a property link to Property 24 or similar, so that we can see the listing online if there is an online listing. Next, up to the top, we've got all the buying expenses. So you can fill in the bond registration fees, transfer fees, and transfer duties. And you can click on these links. If we click on this link, it will take us to the Uber website, and it will allow us to calculate the bond registration fees as well as transfer fees and duty. Please note that these fields are usually shown together on the website, the transfer duty and fees, so make sure you enter them separately on this sheet. Then we have space for a lot of other fields to be entered. For instance, renovations to be affected. We've already added a 10% contingency in here. Your sourcing agent fee in here. Any additional fees that you might want to enter over here. This will give us a total for any capitalized expenses. And then over here is the bond and angel investment fees, which we've already calculated here. Now we've entered enough details to run a buy to let as well as a flip, because we have, whether it's a buy to let that needs renovation or a flip, you've estimated that price over here, and we have a lot of other details to run a flip analysis for. We will calculate the additional stuff that we need to. Then the student accommodation calculator. Now, student accommodation works a little bit differently. We usually have rooms in the house that get rented out on a per room basis. All we require from you is the number of rooms here in green. Everything else is not fillable over here. So simply enter the number of rooms. Let's pretend it's 8. And if we scroll to the right, you will see that there is a per room breakdown. And we've done this because some rooms are doubles and some are singles, so you might want to enter them separately. If you entered 8 rooms there on the left, then it means you only need to fill in over here for 8 rooms. If you fill in 12 rooms, then fill in all the way to 12. Otherwise, your calculation is not going to work out. Fill in the amount of rent that you're charging over here, any other income that students might be paying or tenants might be paying. If tenants are paying for the Wi-Fi or electricity or any other income, add that over here as well, so that we have a total payable per room. That is going to give you over here an average for each one of those divided by the number of rooms. And it will give you a total income projection. And then if you scroll down, you will have the expenses. Now we've hard-coded some of the expenses already, like electricity and water. Rates and taxes, for instance, are pulling in from the left-hand side over there. You can fill in the Wi-Fi over here. Transport costs, if they are for students, any other cost, insurances and security. Everything else here is already filled in on a predetermined basis. If you feel one of these figures is grossly under or overstated, then please chat with us and make us aware of that fact. It will give you a total over here, and this would be enough info for us to do a decent analysis on this deal and further engage with you. Now, once you have filled this in, downloaded your Lightstone report, and put together a presentation pack, you can now submit these documents to us by emailing them to sourcing@zahomes.co.za. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to doing business with you.